Hey everyone, Christina Giordano here, the founder of Sold, your go-to resource for soulful entrepreneurship. And my philosophy is this: people can no longer be sold to, they must be sold to. That is SOUL''D. And in order to sell with soul, you must be sold on you first. Now, just as a reminder, you can find the full episode on my podcast, Sold with Christina Giordano, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. This is just a preview of the full podcast, but I hope you enjoy it either way. Now, this week's episode is called The Last of the Shed, January 2026 Recap. And in this episode, I share what I've moved through throughout the entire month. The first half of the month was really about refinement. It was not about expansion. So really what I did for my business is I refined my entire back end, my website, all of my offerings, the landing pages for all of the offerings, emails, the whole thing. And what that did was it set me up so that everything that I put out there is coherent. Everything sounds like me because it is me, but it's with the version of me and by the version of me who can actually hold everything that I'm calling in. Now, the second half of the month, which I also talk about at the episode, is about something that I talk about in the manifesting methods. It's actually specifically found within the Rose method, and it's called the reach and ripple effect. Now, the Rose method, just to back up just a little bit so you understand where this method comes from. The manifesting methods features three methods: the debit method, the credit method, and the Rose method. The debit method is meant to kind of heal the vessel. If you think of yourself as a vessel, heal the vessel. The credit method is helping you fill up the vessel. And the Rose method is meant to help you overflow. So the methods in general take an approach to healing the receiver, repairing the receiver, while the marketing methods itself helps you build the structure. So the reach and ripple effect is actually the first acronym of the Rose method. It's the method that allows you to expand in the pool of overflow. If you consider it from the framework of a vessel. Now, to learn more about the manifesting methods in general, you can head to previous episodes as I talk about the philosophy behind them and also the framework, what's included, the structure of each method, and all of the practical frameworks and belief shifting objectives that are part of that experience. But back to the reach and ripple effect. I decided that once I refined everything, you kind of get to a place where you're like, okay, now what? This is where the reach and ripple effect comes in. So you set up certain things, certain commitments that allow you to reach out in order to expand your message, to expand your truth, to reach a wider audience, and also create a ripple effect. So that's essentially what we're doing. So through the reach and ripple effect, I was able to not necessarily look into, but to figure out a plan to secure podcast interviews or guest blogs or community workshops. And as a side note, one of the reach and ripple effect avenues that I will be taking is something called Sold Spotlights, SOUL''D Spotlights. And this is where I'm going to be featuring entrepreneurs who I believe are truly walking the talk. They are living examples of what it means to be sold. So these are just a couple of the ways that I was able to step into that reach and ripple effect. Now, at the end of January is the week where everything shut down. This is where I got wildly sick. This is probably why my voice sounds a little strange right now, if you're listening. Also with the podcast, I filmed it as I am now. So I filmed it with my voice like this. Not out of obligation, not because it's Wednesday and because my podcast and this video comes out on this day, but because I wanted to show up authentically. Now that I'm on the mend, now that I'm recovering, now that I'm feeling more like me again after being completely wiped out by sickness, I wanted to show up as me. I wanted to show up imperfectly. One, to keep it real with my audience, but also to show myself that I can show up in a way that's clean and contained and still respectful of what my body is moving through. So, and in that episode, in today's podcast episode, I talk about the realizations that I had coming out of this illness, coming out of, as I'm recovering and becoming healthier. There were several realizations that I made that really finally landed in my body. They're realizations that have been like circling my orbit for quite some time now, but I wasn't actually able to nail them in because I hadn't gotten to that point yet. And so this episode is not so much an episode that recaps my productivity. It's an episode that dives into what it looks like when coherence lands. And if you've been in my world for a while, you know that I teach marketing and manifesting based on the essence that is you. That is the root of everything. And all of my methods are methods of self-discovery. You will never see a method that shares my strategy for anything because it's not going to work for you. It's what works for me. So through these methods of self-discovery, we come back to you, back to your truth, back to your essence. And this is what it essentially looked like for me to come back to me. So if this sounds like something you want to tune into, you can again head to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And until next time, be well and take care.